I personally do wish that there was more content relating towards Cybertron and the world of Transformers, because a lot of times Transformers always takes place on Earth. Like, it's always Earth, it's always some other backward planet or this and that. Like, Cybertron is such a rich place that has so much lore, interesting things you can do with it. It will allow the writers to explore more of the culture of the Cybertronians, and do more interesting things like what do the Cybertrons, find entertaining? What's their culture? What is their moral viewpoints on certain topics and certain things? Because all species, no matter what, has an interesting moral perspective on stuff. Especially robots. Like, these are robots, they're not organic beings like you and me, who generally would view things far differently due to our ability to age and this and that. But robots, these are little robot people, and they don't age exactly how we do. They don't really, slowly, they'll break down. Well, they can, just not exactly the way we think. It would generally be interesting if they done more content with it and they allowed themselves to expand more of it. Because the more they expand, the more they give fans more content to work with on creating narratives or this and that. Like, the games, like the Cybertron, like Transformer Cybertroning related games, do show, the conflict and war between the Decepticons and the Autobots, which is honestly my favorite because it showed us how the conflict started. Well, not really how it started, but more like I think was in the middle part of the war and this and that, and I really loved it. It really showed the drastic conflict between the war. It even showed Starscream being once an Autobot before switching sides to Decepticons, showing a lot of Starscream's weaselly nature and how he was easily willing to switch sides in a minute just to gain power or anything, or just save his ass. It was honestly my favorite game since it did explore more about its society and its culture. Hell, it literally built up a lot of the characters we see in the series that people loved and known. Even the Autobots were pretty interesting. When it came to them leaving the planet, they had a good reason on why they had to leave the planet. In part 2, and the first one explains that. Because Megatron actually succeeds in corrupting the core of the planet, and so on and so on. Like, Cybertron is just so fucking interesting. Like, I do not give a shit involving humanity. Humans in the world of Transformers are cringe. They're ass, I do not care. Like, they're boring. Like, Primal, the movie, that was pretty good. I loved it. But we already have enough content relating to Earth, and I want to focus on other things relating towards Cybertron when it comes to Transformers, because Cybertron just doesn't get a lot of love, and it would have been interesting to explore more of its culture and so on. Hell, it would have been neat to show other factions that is not well known in the public eye, since there are other Transformers related factions that isn't like just the Decepticons and Autobots. And I love the fact that Primal does show that there are other factions than the iconic ones we are all aware of. And that's a good step to me. That's a really good step to show that there are other people that isn't exactly with Megatron. There are even others that oppose him, or agree with him, or if not opposed, or those who agree with the Autobots. And it's honestly fun to explore more of this because Transformers, in the end of the day, are people. They are humans like you and me who do interesting things. And you can create some amazing narratives out of them. Like, there's a lot of narratives you can do. Like, I remember hearing from a video on someone talking about Transformers that there's a story focusing on one last Cybertronian to ever exist. He is the only one, and he's practically the last of his kind, and it's wandering Earth. And that's a really good series. That's a really good comic that explores that, and I honestly love that. That's fucking awesome. That really is a cool concept. It's a shame that there just isn't a lot of narratives, because Transformers has so much to work with its world and expanding on it. I even love the idea of crossing it over with G.I. Joes or having them exist in the same universe, because that makes sense. Since Transformers takes its narrative very seriously and actually does this and that, and G.I. Joe's is a pretty fun and serious narrative that I can honestly see this working. It would actually add humans that actually are competent or understand the threats of what these robots can do, and understand the benefits they can have and how they can use this technology to better humanity or this and that. I just don't always like the fact that humans are just either so easily willing to side with them or this and that. You would add more interest in why people side with the Decepticons or the Autobots, and add the reasoning for it. Since after all, these are people we're talking about, and people have interesting reasons for their reasonings. And it would have been interesting showing other countries as well, trying to make dealings with them. Because after all, we never see any of the Decepticons truly side with humans or have human allies besides the movies. It would have been interesting to show the Decepticons don't hate humans. They see the utility in them, but simultaneously, it would have been interesting showing that they might have used them or something. Like, it's just a waste because there's so many great things you can do with the series of Transformers. I just wish they explored more of it. And exploring more on Cybertron would be the best way to do it.